In the Know, a radio program talking to the newsmakers in Ogle, Lee, DeKalb counties and beyond, keeping you in the know. Here's your host, Charles Van Horn.
Good morning. I'm Charles Van Horn, joined by Representative Bradley Fritts. Good morning.
Good morning, Charles. How are you?
Doing good. Glad to have you here in studio. Native of Dixon, of course, a proud representative in Illinois government. How has Springfield life been treating you?
Well, I feel like it's a little bit of a tricky question. I mean, it is Springfield that we're talking about. But,
yeah.
No, it's been fantastic. It really has. Going back from all the way when I initially got into now, it's definitely been a whirlwind, but it's been a great learning curve. I've had a lot of great experiences and been able to bring a few things back for our districts.
Yeah, and the district you cover, of course, a pretty good-sized area. A lot of the people there, though, because you grew up there and you have a good connection with the community. Has there been any moments so far with somebody you represent coming up to you and go, my goodness, look how far you've come? Have you had one of those moments where they do the I remember when you were knee-high sort of story to you?
Oh, absolutely, all the time. Being the youngest member ever elected to the General Assembly, that happens very regularly.
So getting to know Springfield in and around, has there been somebody down there helping be a mentor to you, somebody who's helped show you the ropes a bit about the processes and procedures and where all the good places to eat are?
Oh, absolutely. I've been very blessed with all the people who have surrounded me. One of those, when I initially got elected, you have one of those moments where you're like, I got elected. Yeah. Now what do I do? And one of those people who initially came to my aid to help mentor me right out of the gate is Representative Tony McCombie.
Yeah.
And because on the western side of the district, I'd picked up what was a lot of her territory. So her and I became really close. She had, taught me a lot about what I needed to do. And then election night, when everybody was expecting the big red wave, it was more of a little bit of a red splash. And the House Republican leader, Jim Durkin, stepped down, and Leader McCombie, or Representative McCombie, ran for leader and became Leader McCombie. So it was a really good benefit to me having my best friend in the House become the House Republican leader as well. Yeah.
Now, being, of course, the Illinois House, Illinois is a blue state. You represent a red district. That does put you in the sort of super minority in the Illinois House, which means you have to reach out across the aisle occasionally. Anyone on the other side that's been helpful to you and help sort of steer you a little bit?
All kinds of people. I mean, it's all about learning, when we Illinois is a very big state and a very diverse state. Things that work in the city of Chicago don't necessarily work here, and things that work here don't necessarily work way down in Cairo.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that geography. So it's all about education. I make friends on the other side of the aisle. I educate them about our rural issues. They educate me about their urban issues, and we're able to, work with each other on our specific geographies to help better everyone.
How tired are you of the drive to Springfield?
Oh, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
It's definitely long, but it's, it gets exciting. You're going down 39 and it's like, all right, tree, field, tree, cow. Oh, we got a cow.
Yeah.
It's, as a farmer by trade, though, I really do enjoy the drive because especially when crops are growing. Yeah. My dad's notorious for calling me up and saying, hey, give me a field report from Southern Illinois.
Exactly. And then you always get antsy when you see that one guy the second week of September take off the headlands of his cornfield. You're like, look, they're already going. They're already rolling.
Or planting in the spring.
Yeah. See the markers out in the field.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, here we go. Representative Bradley Fritts joining us in studio this morning. Legislative-wise, you've had your hand in a couple of bills in the last year. What's coming up in this next year, in 2024, that you're hoping to get moved forward or working with others to get passed?
So I have two main issues that I'm working on. One of them comes from, representing a very rural area. That's everybody loves their ATV, UTV side-by-sides. And they want to be able to ride them on country roads, to be able to go out and visit small businesses. And Wisconsin's got a great system in place. A lot of our surrounding states allow them, Iowa, Missouri. So it would be a huge economic benefit, especially to our rural areas, if we could pass a law to be able to allow counties to adopt them on their roads should they choose to, counties and townships.
To be honest, we know that already happens anyway. I mean, you see enough of them out there that you know that they're going from place to place. This would, of course, add some requirements, I assume, to a UTV owner in regards to like insurance or something like that, right?
Absolutely. You know, all things that are just meant to make the process safer, make those who are in them safer, you know, give law enforcement a little bit of grounds to, you know, determine. Because right now it's just on a case-by-case basis with every law enforcement officer on whether or not they're going to pull them over, what they're... So I think it'd be a huge economic benefit.
Yeah.
I hear it from our small-town bar owners to our gas station owners to our restaurant owners. You know, I mean, being able to go from northern Wisconsin through Illinois to southern Missouri would really make this economic thoroughfare for that kind of trail riding. And
that's a fun thing to try to get pushed forward. Of course, will win you lots of favors back home because, again, a very rural district.
Yep.
Probably the same number of UTVs in that district as there are 7-Elevens. No, there's definitely more UTVs than 7-Elevens. That's for sure. What's another piece of legislation you're working on?
Another thing that I'm working on is in the realm of CDLs, especially coming from an ag background myself. You know, we can see everybody's hurting for people.
Yeah.
From, you know, our local companies like Maplehurst to, you know, our long haul trucker companies.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that I'm going to try to do this year, I'm working with the Secretary of State's office now to put together a piece of legislation that, so a couple years ago now, it went into effect that in order to have a CDL, you have to go to CDL school now. Well, then after that, you have to get a truck from your family, a company, whoever, and then drive to one of the Secretary of State's offices. Then they'll put you through the test, and then if you pass the test, they give you your license.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we have parts of our district, especially when you get to more to the west, like you have to go all the way to DeKalb or, you know, one of those larger places to be able to do it. So what I'm looking for is a little bit of a cleanup here. If you have to go to trucker school and the school's certified by the Secretary of State's office that the actual school can administer the on-the-road test, then in doing so, that person can take the piece of paper to any Secretary of State's office, hand it to them, say, yes, I completed the on-the-road test, and they hand you your license, and out the door you go.
Much like regular driver's education and some driver's education schools in the state, the same thing.
Yep, you certify, and boom, you're done.
Is the toughest part about this whole thing being able to say Alexei Janulius's name?
No, it's just, I would say the toughest part is just getting everybody on board. You know, there's a lot of concern when you're talking about a 80,000 pound vehicle that's out on the road. And obviously you want to make sure that everyone who's operating those vehicles is safe to do so.
And in fairness, Illinois does not have a stellar history, as you may know, with CDLs and licensing and how that process happened. There was the infamous controversy probably about 15, 20 years ago in the Secretary of State's office where there was bribery and things like that and people getting CDLs that shouldn't. So
absolutely,
you know, and then that's another layer of this that obviously is going to make that legislation certainly a challenge.
Well, and that's where the negotiation comes into play. You know, what other things do we tack onto there to have significant penalties should some of those things take place? Because you don't want any of that happening.
Yeah.
You don't want somebody who's not qualified running an 80,000 pound vehicle. You know,
if you're lucky, it's 80,000 pounds.
Well, we're not going to go there.
So Springfield has been a fun adventure. Obviously, you're up for re-election soon. The primary coming up, and then all that stuff. So you're going to be getting the groundwork for that to obviously tell people in the district what you've done, what you've accomplished. Do you see yourself still in this position? I'm going to make a big number here so you don't have to make a decision right away. In like 6, 8, 10 years, still being a representative? Do you have your goals set maybe a little higher in office in Illinois? Or do you just want to get some things accomplished and maybe go back to the farm?
You know, everybody loves to ask me this question. As the young guy in the room, you know, what are your ambitions? You want to be governor? You want to be president? I mean, everybody asks me this. And to be completely honest with you, I want to be the best representative that I can be, and I want to be a farmer.
Yeah.
I love doing both of those things. I love the people. I love the district. And as long as the people have me and I feel that I'm continuing to do a good job, I'll run. But that, you know, we talk about term limits a lot, and every 2 years is technically a term limit.
Yeah.
And if my constituents don't feel I'm doing the job, they'll let me know. And I want to continue to be the best that I can be, to work as hard as I can to bring as much home as possible.
Now, being a farmer, obviously, there's a time balance here. And being a representative, obviously, is an easier time balance to being like a senator in Washington. So
absolutely.
That works. But now the difficult farm question. And this one, I know you're trying to be a politician. You want to make sure you appease everybody. But I also am a farm kid, and I know there's only one answer to this question. Case IH or John Deere. You have to make your decision. And if you say Gleaner, you can just go ahead and leave right now.
I'm a John Deere guy.
There you go. Yeah.
However, I was joking at a farm meeting, but I really wasn't joking. You know, everybody loves to ask that question, red or green, red or green. It's like, well, I'm a green guy, but I do have that one piece of red equipment just to prove to the dealer that I'm not color loyal and that I'll walk, by God, if I don't get a good deal. And every farmer laughs because everybody loves to say, you know, that they're red or they're green, but they do have that one off-color piece of equipment that they secretly hate most than anything else in their shed.
Yeah.
Just to make that point to a dealer. So
I wasn't color specific until I encountered a John Deere drill. Then that made me go red. Way too many parts. Way too many little moving parts. So as we get back on the topic of political endeavors, local politicians obviously turn to you for favors for their district. And obviously you're representing Dixon and other communities. Some of those are your hometowns and people you know. How good does it make you feel to help work with a local city or a local township government and get something done for them?
Oh, there's no better feeling in the world. I mean, that's what you're there for. You know, I talk about this pretty often. You know, in Illinois, we're so aggressively gerrymandered to where we're in super blue or super red districts. And one of the things, you know, it's very easy for me sitting in a very red district to sit in my chair and throw bombs at the majority party all day long. Very easy. But what's harder is actually stepping across that aisle, having a conversation with them, working towards the middle ground and bringing things home. And like, that's what I really feel that I've been most successful at in this year, is really breaking down those barriers and being able to bring good things home. I mean, we've had in the last year tons of grant money come in here. We've had I had 4 pieces of legislation that went through the House this year, all things that were brought to me by constituents of this district. And so I'm very proud of being able to bring things home, of being able to work for people and making sure that we have the services available here that, you know, aren't just in Cook County or aren't just in other parts of the state, that we can really compete.
All right. Thank you for joining us this morning, Representative Bradley Fritts. Somebody wants to find out more about you, get in touch with you, harass you on the phone. How do they reach out to you?
Repfritts.com, repfritts.com is our website. Our phone number's on there. I'm right on Galena Avenue, just past the Arch in Dixon. Feel free to stop in. Have a great staff that work along with me to really help answer any constituent questions, comments, concerns, etc.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to this week's In the Know. The program returns next week at this time with another great conversation with someone from your community.